Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome. I am super excited today. Really tired. I've been up for a long time, but I am going to be doing a live stream demo preset walkthrough of my latest pack that I'm happy to announce, which is aeturnum 2. So if you have messed around with aeturnum 1 on my website before, then you kind of know what you're getting yourself into. It's kind of just more refined patches of a lot of the, same aspects of making a kind of simple bass and then using that to change it into not only a neuro bass but also a generator. So I'm not really going to waste any time with this. I'm going to go ahead and open this up. This is a new one. We'll talk about that last, but we have a lot of stuff to talk about here and a lot of stuff to go through, which is really exciting. So by default, for the most of these patches, there's some variety in here. It is kind of starting off as just like a simple bass, so something kind of along the lines of that. And as we continue to kind of tune these knobs and stuff, up here, as you can see, then they're all kind of mapped to this macro. And macro 1 is usually a kind of neuroifier, if you will. And macro 2 is more of a generator. So I've got a lot of these different presets. There are 54 total phase plant presets. I believe that there's like 40 something multipass presets and 30 something snap heat presets. But the cool thing is that you can kind of use all of these to mix and match and kind of make your own stuff. Granted, you kind of have a little bit of like know-how of the anatomy of the patches themselves. So I'm going to get into that in just a second, but before I do, I think that I'm actually going to hook up my Stencil Morph. Shout out to Stencil. If you guys can get your hands on one, I would definitely recommend it. It is one of the most portable, also affordable, like MPE options that you can get your hands on, and I love those guys. They're a great company, so shout out to them. So I'm going to hook this up really quick, but I'm going to show you why this is so important and kind of how I try to design these patches in order to make them the most functional. The tune that you heard at the beginning was actually one of my tunes that I released not too long ago, and it's significant because most of the sounds that you heard in there were actually made using patches like these. So really the way that these go is it's not something that's going to be immediately playable and you're going to just record MIDI and then use it right out of the box. A lot of times this stuff is designed for such aspects like resampling and things of the like. But these patches are super advanced, and the way that you can use them, given if you have a little bit of direction with them or you kind of have just a little bit of intuition, you can do just so many things with this. For one, you can use this as a means of creating textures. You can use this into creating soundscapes. You can use these just with like infinite bass possibilities just off of a single patch. So I'm really excited. Let me make sure that my Stencil Morph is working and we're going to dive into some of these sounds. Okay. So the way that I have this set up in general is pretty sick. I'm going to actually pull this up just really quickly, just so that way we can all see what I'm talking about. But what's going on here is the Stencil Morph, of course, is an MPE device. And while for the most part, phase plant isn't MPE yet, because of Bitwig, you can kind of steal some of the functionalities from from MPE. And if you have some other thing that can MPE-ize whatever phase plan or whatever, then you can do that. You can also just use macros if you want to kind of connect that to a controller. That's totally fine too. But hold on one second. Let me get this hooked up. Oh, don't knock my lamp over. That's my favorite lamp. Although that is a really cool picture. No! And there we go. Okay, let me pull this up over here. It's going to be sweet. All right, cool. So yeah, by nature, if I were to push this and kind of just hit this down kind of like this, then it would play the sound vanilla. But the harder that I actually push the key, it's actually going to activate one of the macros to turn harder. Then if I do the same thing, if I push it lightly and I slide my finger towards the top, it's going to activate the generator. If you add that on top of, you know, the stuff that you can do along with playing with the slide, then you can see, like, even just off the first patch, you know, there's quite a bit that you can do. So one thing that I am going to change really quickly though is over here I've got this set to expressions, and I accidentally have both timbre set to macro 2 and speed. So I'm going to adjust this and just turn that off really quickly. So now I can play this a little bit more freely. And the speed knob over here is, for the most part, most of these that I've done are attached to some kind of speed that you can manipulate. I've kind of opted less for doing things to sync and doing things more at a hertz rate, just because regardless of what tempo you're working at, it's always going to kind of, you know, work, you know, because sometimes I've noticed that with the patches that I put out, because it's been synced to tempo, it actually dramatically changes the sounds and the way that things work. One second, guys, I gotta let my brother into. I gotta let my dogs up. So yeah, it's super exciting, and this is kind of how I've been doing all of my sound design for bass as of late. It's really just like almost a kind of intuitive thing of just like I always do it now, and it's really fun. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and actually kind of take a look at some of these patches. Oh my gosh, dogs. Sorry, guys. And go. Jeez. Pull this up. Yeah, super cool. And if anybody has any questions along the way, then just let me know. But let's go ahead and get into it. What is that? Are those cards? Dope. I'm in something really important right now, so I'll talk to you later. So yeah, let's go ahead and take a look. You've already seen this patch, which is pretty cool. But I'm just going to go down the list of what I have and kind of go into the next one, and we'll kind of have some fun and kind of see what else we got going on. This one is Boiling Square. A lot of these are just kind of named off of like what I've asked from the chat. So for the most part, like they're not really anything in particular. It's really just like, hey chat, what should I have named this? So hopefully the names will be a little bit more memorable in that way. They're also turned up really freaking loud. I don't know why I do that. It just kind of seems to help because I like loud sounds, but I really want to make sure that you all know that I mean business. And the cool thing about this stuff is that while you know, things are randomized for the most part, you will kind of see that there's still like very similar characteristics of sounds. It's just that the movement is what changes. And some people might not like that. You know, some people might just want, you know, multi-stage envelopes where everything kind of does the same thing. But for me personally, I would much rather set all this stuff up and then try to just take out the best pieces and stuff, because it's going to keep inspiring me. It's going to keep, you know, it's going to keep me wanting to come back to it, if that makes sense. So there are some bonus patches. I'm going to move on and not necessarily talk about those yet, but let's go ahead and move on to the next one. And like I said, most of these are kind of designed so where like you can just use these vanilla. So even if you don't have them, you know, kind of set to the macros and stuff that you have, this is just a good starting point in which you can jump off and take it into other directions in case if you just want like a solid, you know, sub or mid bass to kind of work with. And then of course, as you get into activating the macros, and I don't know, man. I just like this stuff. It's really fun, and once you have this stuff set up, it's a lot easier for me to just kind of set record and then have some fun playing with the with the MPE device and letting those things go off, and then you know, or doing a few different ones, right? And that's kind of what's really interesting and really cool. And I did really try to make sure that I didn't that all of these don't sound the same. That's really important. So I did try to add as much diversity into this as I possibly could. Let me turn this one down really quick. There we go. Cool, let's go to the next one. I think that this one was actually supposed to be, yeah, so this one actually I don't think is a bass. Yeah, this one is actually a bell, so. And then I still applied all the same things though, so you know, as opposed to having it be a neuro bass and then, or like a mid bass or whatever, and then making it into a neuro bass. I kind of wanted to experiment with taking things that are more instrumental or more like, you know, playable, and then adding the same kind of like insane processing through all this stuff as you normally would. Cool. Next one, we got Cyberbell 1. I think this one is a similar one, except that I changed a lot of the source material. Turn this down, see what that sounds like on its own. Yeah, so this one is a lot more organic. I really like this one. It sounds like wooden, and whenever you kind of get into like the notching and kind of squelchy stuff that you hear, it adds like a really cool texture. Cool, let's go into the next one. Dark Factory. So this one is actually one that's supposed to go into the bonus patches, but I have included a lot of kind of soundscapey things and also kind of just generators that are things on their own. But this one is pretty cool. It's a really dark pad. And it's also like an insane, like horror subby, just like, you know, nightmarish type of sound. But I really like this one. I think that's why I included it in the pack. Yeah, that one's awesome. I'm gonna turn that pitch back up. Cool. So that's Dark Factory. Let's take a look at Death Pipe. Death Pipe I used on a tune. I think I used this on Cries Met with Silence. Love it, man. That one is awesome. Cool. Let's go to the next one, which is Freezer Grunge. Sweet. Okay, next one we got is Genevieve. This was kind of akin to if you've played Borderlands 3. There's a funny boss on there that reminded me of this sound. Dope. Yeah, you might hear me say I like this one, but that's really just because like I had a lot of fun making these, and this is stuff that I use in my own production, and it's kind of just like an accumulation to all of the sound design tricks and stuff that I've kind of figured out in Faceplant. And yeah, I don't know, I have a good time making these. I have a good time just listening to them on their own and thinking about how they can be applied in a lot of, you know, heavy music and stuff. And you know, it's not something that you're gonna buy for trap or something that you're gonna buy, you know, to give you, you know, how do I make music quickly, although it could if you know how to use it right. This is something that I think that I'm hoping people can look for to find inspiration and find something that's more interesting to explore. Gaming later? No, I'm not gaming later. I'm doing like a preset demo for this pack that I'm getting ready to release tomorrow. Man, yeah, dude. I'm so proud of myself. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be conceited or anything, but yeah, I'm all about these, man. These are so fun. All right, this one's called Inception. So I actually want to talk about this one pretty quickly because I had to kind of devise a trick that I didn't really know how to overcome, and there's probably a more elegant way to do this. But something that I've been doing for Faceplant version 1 is that if you take a macro and you assign it to one direction is the gain and the mix on one, and then the other is the opposite, then you can kind of toggle between a parallel chain between this, so you're actually splitting your patches even more, right? Because like even though you've got 4 lanes and it's a single quote unquote patch between this stuff, you can actually have more presets within more presets. And so the problem with this was that when I set the mix on this, it didn't do what I wanted it to because it was already kind of mapped to a macro. So like you can't really like master map a macro or whatever. So I set this up, and then I set this towards like I put snap heap within snap heap, so that way I can control that it wouldn't do this all the time. So when macro 2 is off, it doesn't kind of go through that same processing, which is good. And then whenever I turn this on, then it will kind of be able to flip-flop between those randomized, you know, like choices or lane choices. And I think that's a really fun thing to try. And hopefully that will kind of inspire some people to try some of that stuff on their own. All right, so the next thing is it's just a sine wave, right? So this is like really cool because as you can tell, it's just a sine wave with distortion, but you know, the stuff within snap heap that I've got here is obviously a lot, but it's really fun just to take a single harmonic and just to take something very simple and see what it is that you can do with it. So if we just kind of play it vanilla, it sounds like this. The extra texture that you hear is because my MPE device is very sensitive. So if there we go. So you shouldn't hear all that stuff. But then once you start applying pressure towards the actual key, then it will do things. It's so badass. All right. Yeah, so that one is it's just a sine wave, right? And like I said, I get a kick out of just starting from something super simple and making it more complicated. All right, this patch was kind of designed to be like nobody cough cough, but yeah, this is what it sounds like. I like this one because it's kind of a lot more subtle in that way, and it still has like pitching and stuff. But whenever you design these patches, if you're trying to do this stuff on your own, it's really important of like the chain that you have, of course, because if you were to take, you know, if you were to take the generator multipass and change it and place that before the neuro multipass, then whenever those two are reacting together, it's very interesting to see how they kind of interpolate. And that's kind of one of the fun things to discover about this, is because like there's so much stuff that's within every single one of these patches, but even though it's kind of neatly organized, that you can mix and match in between all of these and really just find a limitless amount of variation. I could not do sound design for the next 6 months and easily and just use this stuff and still have inspiring sounds, just because even though it's not, you know, technically thousands and thousands of presets, the versatility that you're going to get from this stuff is really, you know, I guess the selling point of it. All right, the next one that we've got is Mech Blast. And it sounds like this. That was insane. And this one is really cool too, because I started experimenting with like not just doing like bass stuff, but trying to put together a lot of different textures of something that would be interesting. Of course, like I want every patch to be interesting on its own with all the macros turned off and stuff. But with that, I actually have a drum loop that's within a sampler here to kind of bounce around and like mess with the pitch and stuff. And so that's why I thought this one would be kind of interesting to try. And kind of like once you get a feel for all of this, it's really just a matter of like taking the same idea or the same approach to how we make, you know, certain sounds and then trying to use it on other sounds. And I think that like you'll kind of see a lot of that through this pack. Okay, so this is one that we made recently. Somebody requested that I make kind of like a Mefuse bass, and I am not Mefuse, and okay, like let's just kind of keep that established. But this is kind of what it sounds like. I'm going to go back and turn this character up because I like the character of just the original. Oh, I'm going to do this by hand because the macros are kind of different, but... And so for this one, I have the MPE stuff kind of mapped to macro 1 and 2, but it still has the same generators and stuff. But instead of like doing neuro on this one, because this sound is kind of like what you would use vanilla anyways, I actually did 2 generators on this one. And whenever you're doing this, sometimes as opposed to like just holding a note down and kind of doing this, there is a pitch envelope set on here. So whenever you set the pitch envelope to go through all of these randomized, randomized flippin' effects, sometimes it will dramatically change the sound or change the way that it reacts to it. So that's why I encourage you to kind of like keep pushing the button and hold it for a little while, but keep doing that because like you're going to end up getting a lot of different stuff all in all throughout. Yeah. All right, so this one is called Memory Loss, and it sounds like this on its own. This one is, I think, one of the newer ones that I made, and I actually did a custom wavetable, of all things, talking about a wavetable. But for some reason, it's really challenging for me to actually make wavetables in Phase Plant. That's like the one thing that I'm not very good at within this synth. But I do like this. It sounds very like kind of like, I don't know, some kind of monsters in pain or something. And as you all know, as you can tell if you've been watching this live stream, that I like crazy monsterish sounding things. All right, next one that we've got is pants on the ground. I think that's just what somebody told me to name it. So next one we got is politics. I think that's also another recent one. I've been making these for about 6 months. Well, I started on aeturnum 2 as soon as I put aeturnum 1 out, and I was like, I know I could do better. And while I still like a lot of those sounds that are in the first pack and stuff, I'm just always thinking about ways that I can kind of keep pushing this forward and keep, you know, making them better and keep making them more versatile and more interesting and all that stuff. But I think that this one was one that I did maybe like 1 or 2 days ago. Cool. Next up, we've got Raising the Dead. Noise. Holy shit, that was loud. Let me turn this macro off. It sounds like this. I actually really like this Reese, and I think that part of what made it work was I combined a wavetable with a saw wave, but I think that it just seems to be that, like, in this perfect spot or whatever, this reaction with the saw wave just seems really nice. Yeah, I really like how that the phase oscillation of that has just like a really clean sound. Yeah, I like that one a lot. All right, next one we have is Sleepy Cthulhu. Whatever. I think I can see why I called it that. It kind of has that like sleepy, dreamy sound whenever it goes through the generator. And some of them kind of sound more soundscape-ish. Some of them kind of sound more generative. Some of them sound just even more monsterish. So I really hope that you guys kind of have a good time with all this stuff and just kind of hop in and jump at it and just spend some time like enjoying the presets, you know, because there's not like hundreds and hundreds or whatever, but at the same time, like I said, like you're just going to get a lot of mileage out of this stuff. Man, this one's heavy. Sick. Cool. Next up, we've got this one was actually made for Lex. Shout out to him. He's in the chat. This is kind of how that one turned out. I'm not sure if you caught it or not, but this is what it sounds like. Cool. I think that this macro is also for speed, so you can see here that everything is kind of mapped to the same thing, and they all kind of go to the same macro, so by pulling this up, they'll kind of move a little bit faster. And you'll notice that most presets that I have of this kind of like caliber or whatever are very similar in that way. All right, this one is Square Morpher. I'm going to double check this and make sure that these are what they're supposed to be. They are... I think I made another version of that one. I guess that would be the alternate version, but this is Square Morpher. So I think that I started with like the same source sound or whatever, but created different variations of the stuff that this becomes. Yeah, this one kind of has more of that like kind of pipe sounding resonances, and the other one seems a little bit more dry. So this one is actually one of my favorite ones. If you listen to the tune at the beginning, this was actually the bass that I used for that. I did a cool trick here where I started with a regular generator from a wavetable, and then I bounced out that into a sample and then kind of sent it through all of the same processing in that way. But I kept the original wavetable in case if you wanted to turn that off and turn these on, you can kind of see how, or like see the paper trail about how it was kind of conjured in that way. But this is what this one sounds like. Wait, let me turn this knob off. Yeah, this one's so cool. Dope, man. Cool. And then the last one that we have for this kind of patch is treble deficient. We've got some other stuff to go through. I have some bonus patches and then also some pads and soundscapes that I kind of just wanted to include as a bit of variety. And so this is the last kind of like hybrid patch, I would call it. And it sounds like this. This one's a much deeper one, but I just really like it. It's called treble deficient or whatever, but I really like how it kind of has those like deep spaces that are kind of within that. It sounds really cool in that way. So yeah, those are the kind of like hybrid patches between that. Now let's go ahead and take a look at some of the pads that I've created. I think there's like 10-ish. We'll start with the Bramble Scramble. Shout out to Donkey Kong Country. It has nothing to do with that pad. I just thought I'd call it something to do that. Yeah, I like that one. This one is called Culprad. I think I was listening to something from Culprit whenever this came up. It sounds like this. All you have to do is follow the link. I'll fix it later. Yeah, that one is really nice, really easy to listen to. This one isn't really much of a pad, it's more of a soundscape, but I really like it. I would recommend playing a lower register on this one. Yeah. I don't even remember how I made this, to be honest, but it seems like it's one of the more simple ones. Yeah, that's just making sure that the low end is in mono. I think that what most of this achieved was there was a noise thing that sounded like waves. There is a filter that's, yeah, kind of moving that up and down, and then you can see here that this is manipulating the pitch just a bit, and this doesn't come in the whole time, so sometimes it'll be on its own. And then let's see, I think with this one it's just a chord, so you can see here, or octaves rather, so there 12 semitones, and then these kind of take turns coming in and out via the randomizers. And then what is this one? Oh, just some kind of bass looking thing, I think, and then that's being sent through the pitch shifter. And the key to kind of like getting those cool like metallic drone things is the distortion, the pitch shifter, and then like a touch of reverb, and it sounds pretty badass in that way. Okay, the next one is I Will Break You. Got you. Yeah, you should probably only play one note at a time. Oh, never mind. It works. You can play chords with that, but you gotta watch out. It's kind of CPU heavy on that one. Hey, Haju. Welcome to the stream. Next one that we've got is Possessed Washing Machine. I really like this one. Yeah, that one's super cool. Just lots of interesting textures in there. This one is Scraper 3 Skirt Skirt, and this one is just kind of another like metallic texture that is supposed to be just really kind of deep and dark. Very cool for, you know, horror things and but as you can see, that's why it's called that. Then we've got Purgatory Pad. I think that's a recent one, as in like within the last 7 days. Yeah, that one's just kind of pleasant and easy to listen to. Let's see, the next one we've got is Sea of Solitude. Super chill. Let's see, this one is Space Channel 5. I've got another one called Space Channel 6, but this one is... I am dropping this tomorrow. Hope you're good too, Jack. I'll send you a DM on Discord here in a bit when I'm done. But I already went through all the bases and stuff, and we're kind of just going through some of the pads that I have. Yeah, that one's pretty cool. And then we've got Space Channel 6. Let's ignore that I play the same chords. They just work. So I'm not here to show you my composing skills. I'm here to show you my sound design skills. So definitely keep me posted. I don't think I've ever had a chance to try your samples or presets lately. Yeah, this one has been in the works for like, I want to say like 6 months. And it's my biggest pack yet, I think. And it's just got just so many presets and lots of sound variety, so I'm really happy about it. This one is really cool. I did this one on stream earlier today, and I like this one because it starts off kind of as like a chill pad or whatever, which kind of sounds and then it's two-faced computer, so on one end this is one generator and this is another generator, but then this is also a pitch, so this will kind of just like destroy it. So it sounds really good, and that's kind of why I did this one, because I didn't want to map it all to the same thing. So if you listen to this of like playing the same chord and then this turns on, it's kind of cool because it kind of stays in the same chord. Same thing with this one. But then when you turn the pitch generator on and you kind of mess with this, then it kind of all just like goes to shit. So yeah, there's a lot of really cool stuff that you can do in between that. If you've got like a chord progression and then you kind of just set it to loop and kind of mess with those knobs in between and kind of get like some interesting tidbits in between. Alckemy stream, let's go. Hey Batman, what's good? So yeah, there's that one. And then the last pad that we have is this wet bot generator. Well, it's more of a soundscape, but I'll just kind of play it for you because that's what I'm gonna do. This one is kind of just stagnant in that way, but it kind of sounds cool. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I called it just a wet bot thing just because it kind of sounds like, well, what it is. So yeah, let's go ahead and hop into the bonus patches now. And this is just like some random miscellaneous stuff that I wanted to include. It's not meant to be like part of the selling point of this. It's just like, hey, here's some extra stuff of some things that I've been making. So I think this is just a simple, like, interesting 808. Maybe. Hello. Okay, well. I wonder why that's not playing on my keyboard. Yeah, I think that this was just meant to be like a really thick sub in that way, and it's kind of like unfair to use that to compete against all the other stuff that I was just playing. But you know what I mean? Sometimes simple patches like that are better, and this is one thing that you can just use and kind of keep that in there. That's so weird that everything works except for F. Oh, there we go. I was like, what is going on? Okay, then we've got abstract starter kit. I did this one earlier today, so it's another kind of just like generator. And I think with this one in particular, I want to say that this was one that I really just liked the bass of this. Yeah, like if you just listen to it for a bit, the movement is really cool. And I didn't really want to take this any further, so I kind of just left it as is. And if you want to, you know, make your own or replace it, that's kind of there. But I think that I just kind of liked that how it was and didn't want to mess with it. And then there's one further down the line that I made that kind of gets into changing that up a bit. This next one is kind of just a kick maker. It's very simple. It's nothing too complicated. You kind of just mess with the macros. That's a little bit too high, but it's got some good stuff. So you can make a lot of cool, interesting, different kicks and stuff with that. Then I have a snare maker as well. This was meant to come out from a drum pack, but I didn't really like how it turned out. So it's just kind of there if you want to use something for extra texture. Dope ass sounds. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. The metallic layer is why it sounds like that, but you can see here that like there's a lot of different shaping and stuff that you can do that makes it kind of interesting. Yeah, so there's that. Just trying to cover all the bases of different sounds and stuff. This one is Circuit Bell. I think that it's just kind of an interesting pluck. I don't remember why I made this and what. I'm pretty sure I used it in a tune, but I don't remember which one. But I like that the delay stuff kind of has that bit crushing to it, so it kind of sounds like, you know, broken circuit stuff. And yeah, I think that like this other bonus stuff is just things that I like that I thought maybe somebody else might. So this one is Dawn of the Final Day. Sounds like this. Again, a generator. Pretty sick. Just, you know, some other cool, interesting sounds to mess with. This one is Death's Lawn, because it's another generator, but it kind of sounds very like scapish and hellish. This one is just a simple kind of motion or a multi-stage envelope. So as opposed to doing all the generative things and whatever, this is actually something that you might actually be able to use out of the box. So yeah, it's a super aggressive neuro bass that is cool. And if you want to change like the motion of it, you can come into here and use the pencil tool and kind of shape your own thing. But yeah, I even left a comment that says try changing the pattern, but you can mess with the speed. Slow it down. Oh god, this is sick. The decay on here is for the pitch. Yeah, and that's kind of what this one was kind of in mind for, or you know, just like an easy like halftime thing where you wanted it to just be like right. But again, it's all kind of set up for you. You just have to come in here and change the LFO or the multi-stage envelope pattern that you were wanting to do. This one is pretty vanilla. It's just a cool little bell with with AM modulation. I'm not really sure what the macro does. I probably should have labeled it. Just label that timbre. Yes. But, you know, just kind of pretty bell. That might be interesting to some people. Next one that we've got is Laser Womp, which sounds like this. It's going to be much louder, so brace yourselves. Yeah, this one's really cool. I like it because it's super stereo on the high end and has just like a really interesting like full frequency sound. But again, you can come into this and adjust the multi-stage envelope to your liking. And then it's got a couple of macros that you can mess with. Yeah. Next one that we've got is Thick Reese, which I think is just kind of like a garage bass. which if you play on a higher register, then you can kind of make it sound more of like a pad or whatever. This 808 is also pretty simple. It's just maybe one of those kick type things. And I think I might have actually messed up on this one because I think it's supposed to be I feel like there was something else that I did with this. Right. Okay. Yeah. And then the next one is what I hear in the AM or in the morning. Yeah, so that one is just kind of has some interesting textures. And then this one is Wompa Womp. And there's a couple of different options on this one. If you wanted it to be in mono, then it's obviously got the spread that you can remove. And this is just a very subtle kind of change. It says slice offset. I don't remember where I sliced that, but there's that. There's also a fast one. And then if you, of course, make it wide. Yeah, this one's sick. Yeah. So, let me see. Did I miss anything? I don't think so. So there's like 54 patches for phase plant. Wait, let me redo this and let me do a double count. Oh shit. Oops. 53 patches in phase plant. And let's see, there are 41 patches in multipass, and then there are 31 patches for snap heap. So there's a lot to get into, but it's cool because like through all of the teaching that I've done and stuff about like how to make these and like how to mix and match and stuff, what's really cool is that you can either pull up a preset that I've already made, or you can kind of start your own and just go into like making a very simple, come on, what are you doing? New. Come on, faceplant. What's going on here? Oh, that's why. Cancel. All right. You know, you can just do something really simple like a detune Reese or whatever, right? So, you know, kind of your standard. Throw some distortion in it. And then you can just kind of come in here and surf through some of these presets if you wanted to. So, like this. I don't know. We'll just use that one. And then see how that sounds within this. And let's say like we like that. This one's kind of subtle, and I think that, you know, we would need a little bit more work into that. But what you can do is kind of map that to macro 1. Then you can come into here and load up another instance of multipass or snap heap, and you go into that and be like, all right, well, let's try bloopadoop rack and see what that sounds like. And then map that to macro 2, kind of like that. And then you've already got your own, you know, same thing, custom generative like bass maker thing. And then you can kind of mix and match in between these and see what kind of sounds you can get. It's insane. And then, like, let's say you don't like this one, right? Okay, well, that's fine. We can come in here and pick a different one. So let's try Blasted Mech and see what that sounds like with this. So, like, if I really hope that people that watch this and, you know, hopefully buy this, like, see just how much depth there is within that. You know, I just made one simple sound and put those two things together and, you know, added a little bit of limiting, and, like, there you go. So I'm not going to go through all of the multipass and snap heap presets just because it's going to vary so much depending on what you feed into it, and I don't really want to set your expectation up for that. But what you are getting is just a lot of different tools in order to make generative music, and I'm really fucking proud of what I did, to be honest. So sorry for the curse word if you're watching this from my website, but I put a lot of work and energy into this, and this isn't trying to bite off of anybody else. This is me. This is my signature type of sound design and processing that my channel has kind of like formed into, and I hope that you all find some value in it. Does anybody here have any questions on anything from the pack? It's coming out tomorrow. I'm going to set it as $40, and I am going to also bundle it with my previous presets in case if somebody kind of wants to save a few bucks and get, you know, the entire collection or something. I'll probably call it Alckemy's Legacy Collection, because it's got Ascension in it, where I started doing the generators, and then I came out with aeturnum, to where I started making the basses with the neuro and the generators as opposed to all just separate patches. And then this is kind of the collection of refined sounds and stuff. So there's just a ton of content that is available on my website already. And if you're a high tier patron, then I've actually included some of those presets in here. So if you take a look, where are we at here? On Alka rewards, you've actually got like a week to grab these, but you can see here that I've got some of these: Space Channel, Memory Loss, Whoompa Womp, Raising the Dead, Bramble Scramble, and then I've got a bunch of other stuff here too. So, like, you know, let's say like you don't want to buy the pack, but you either want to support the channel and you want some other free goodies and stuff, that's available too. But this is going to kind of be something that will be on the website for as long as I'm in the business and stuff. And I think that, yeah, I'm really proud of it, man. I cannot stress enough how valuable I think this stuff is. And maybe that's just me because I made it, right? And when everybody makes things, they're like, oh, it's the best thing ever. But at the very least, there's a lot of variety, and it's going to, like I said, yeah, you're going to get a lot of mileage out of it. So thank you guys for chilling with me while I kind of demoed all of these presets and stuff. I hope that you found at least a few in here that you enjoyed enough to make you think about making a purchase or so. But I'll make an announcement on the Discord when it's up, probably sometime tomorrow. I'm ready to go to bed, to be honest. But yeah, thank you all for kind of being here and supporting the channel and just kind of watching me grow with this sound design thing that I've been doing on stream for years now. Started with a comprehensive guide to neurobase, and that was all about resampling, and I was doing the same stuff, right? If you take a look at what I was doing with the auto filter and kind of randomizing that, and as time grew on, the randomization kind of like kept going and kept going and kept going. And then I think that I hit a sweet spot on just figuring out how to make everything blend in a way that was a lot more seamless and like just enough control to where you can get something predictable out of it, but also enough randomness that it will surprise you, usually in a pleasing way. And don't get me wrong, like not every single moment out of today's stream was, you know, super useful or anything, but you get a lot of moments of gold. And I think that, you know, you can take those and use those within your bases and stuff that will be useful. I don't use faceplant, honestly. That's okay. I hope that you consider picking it up sometime, because you can't do the stuff that I showed you in any other synth. It's just not possible because of how many effects you can use within faceplant, right? But at the same time, you know, it's still cool to just kind of share this with you and maybe give you your own ideas for any kind of sound design that you might be doing in your, you know, home studio or whatever. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got for the stream. I'm going to leave this public just because I want to use this as a means of advertisement, really, and just kind of show off my work, if anything. So thanks, guys. I appreciate it. If you have any questions, then just hit me up in the Discord or something, or send me a DM or leave a comment and let me know if there's any other kind of questions or anything I could, you know, help you answer for this pack. Go get it tomorrow, or, you know, go grab the other stuff. Go grab aeturnum or Ascension or any of the other things. There's also free stuff on my website at alckemy.com. I'm all about hooking people up. So yeah. Well, right on, guys. I'm going to take off. Hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you probably in the next tutorial. Bye, everybody.